Good morning, Facebook friends, YouTube. This is Maria Quattrone with Be the Solution. I'm excited with my guest today, Stephanie Biello from Sotheby's. Stephanie manages the Sotheby's office in Chestnut Hill on the main line and in Center City, Philadelphia. Welcome today, Stephanie.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. On this lovely Wednesday, October 21st. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Great. So, Stephanie, this is great to talk with you today because we've met over the years here and there, but I've never had an opportunity actually to sit down and have a conversation with you. So I would say this morning, coffee with Stephanie on Be the Solution. Yes, I just got her mug. Sotheby's mug or Stephanie mug.
It's a Stephanie.
I love
or
it.
Superwoman. We like my kids call it Superwoman.
Or Superwoman, managing 3 offices in a pandemic. So Stephanie, how did you get into the real estate industry, and how did you get to be the broker manager of 3 powerhouse offices like Sotheby's in our region?
Well, I was licensed in 2002. It was right after 9/11. I was working in management for a retail company. He was a manufacturer of children clothing. So we opened up offices all over the East Coast, and I was like, I'm done. I want to get out of this. I had 3 kids. I had the 4th kid on the way. And
That's a bit
wanted to get into, so it was a handful. And then I got my real estate license. I worked with Coldwell Banker in the Rockledge office. So I lived in Fox Chase. I raised my children in Fox Chase. And then I got into new construction. So I worked for DeLuca Homes for a while. And that was when we were just talking about the 2008, when that hit. The bank kind of closed down a lot of the projects that I was working on. So
where was that out of? Where were you at then with DeLuca?
I was, up in Bucks County, way up in Bucks County, Hilltown, Percy area. So
all the way up there.
Yeah. So
that was a tough time for the suburbs.
It was tough. Tough.
Come full circle.
Yeah. And then I went into Center City and I worked on 10 Rittenhouse. And so I stayed in new construction for a while, and then I got my broker's license and was talking about going back into resale. And my dear friends, Margie and Diane, said, you need to talk to the Pearsons over at Sotheby's. So then the rest was history. We opened up the mainline office. We moved the Philly office, and then recently opened the Chestnut Hill office. So yeah, that was kind of my journey.
It's funny how everything's tied together.
It does.
So it's we're all interconnected in some way or form, and you don't know how or what that means at the time.
And then when you look back at it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, now it makes sense.
Now it makes sense, right? So here we are, October 2020, right in the midst of a pandemic. We're, as real estate people, right in the midst of it, because the people are searching right now for homes. 50% of people are online looking at homes. Isn't that crazy?
That is.
Generally, it's like 10%. And 1% are ready to buy today.
Yeah. What's really crazy is in 2005, so I was with Coldwell Banker in Rockledge. So I was with Montgomery County Association of Realtors. So I was on the board of directors there because my girlfriend was the president. She's like, you need to get on the board. So she tried to be on the board. Yeah. I was like, oh, so I was on the board there, and we had this guest speaker come in, and she's like, he's from California. I got to go to the airport. I got to go pick him up. He's going to talk about technology. And we're like, okay. And we had flip phones, in 2005, or the bag phone. And he came in and he was talking about how, very soon we will have everything working off of our phone. And we are like, what? Like texting? And he's like, yeah, you're going to be able to text right away from your phone. You're going to be able to search on your phone. And it was Brad Inman. So
Ah,
he, back in 2005. So it was really, really funny just to hear everybody, like, my girls are like on their phones searching for apartments. And I'm like, I remember back in 2005 hearing from him saying we're going to be able to search for homes on
yeah.
our phone. So
Brad Inman he's legendary.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
he
of good
is.
stuff, a lot of good information from Inman Connect. I actually
Yeah,
missed the actual event that New York event has always been a great event in January, and something I guess like, gosh, for the last 7 years I went to. I didn't go this year for some reason, but
yeah.
he's definitely on the forefront of technology, not just in the real estate industry, but just in
Mhm.
across the country, globally. And he
Right.
brings a lot of really interesting folks to the forefront. And
Hmm.
with that, they did every year they had like a little, they called it, I can't remember the name, something alley. And it was all these little texts. And they had like 2 minutes to come on stage and pitch. And there's a lot of organizations that came out of that conference that actually made it. So it's really interesting to look back and see that how many people he's been able to reach and to put to the spotlight and for their companies to grow in the real estate sector.
Yeah. Yeah, technology is an interesting little sector of our business, isn't it? There's so much out there.
When it
It just,
works.
yeah, it does. I mean, look what we're doing today. I mean, this is incredible, that we could have a conversation, broadcast it live, and then go on a podcast. I still haven't mastered the podcast, so I'm intrigued by how you are doing the podcast. So,
Well, I figured when we weren't able to go and see people anymore, and I said, well, that's a little bit problematic. I don't mind calling people on the phone. I have no problem picking up the phone, calling somebody, but there's something about face to face.
mhm.
And then we sat in my office, and we weren't actually in my office. We were on Zoom talking about, well, what can we do? You can't just go over to Rouge.
Right.
I can't run to Tria. Meet me at
Right.
Tria. Meet me at Park.
Yeah.
You know, the local places you might grab are Metropolitan, outside
Right.
for a cup of coffee, like whatever. La Colombe.
Yeah.
No, you can't just do that. Let's go whole court at La Colombe for 2 hours in the morning. So I had to
Miss
figure out.
that.
Hmm?
Miss that.
Oh
Can't wait
yeah.
to go back to that.
I got my La Colombe coffee from across the street, the coffee
Yeah.
shop with a shot.
With a shot.
Like, do you want a shot today or not? I'm like, I'll have a shot today.
There you go.
A little extra, but I haven't had it yet. But anyway,
Yeah.
so back on to, what are you seeing, Stephanie, in the real estate sector? I mean, you're in the suburbs and you're in the city, so you're getting like a real broad landscape of what's happening. And I'm sure
Right.
your agents are coming to you saying, what do I do? What's going on? Everybody says everything's selling, but it's not. Or
Right.
I got 20 offers, Stephanie. What do I do?
Right. It is, like you said, from the suburbs to the city, it's completely different. It's definitely a micro market. The suburbs, trying to find homes for people. We do see a big influx in the Bucks County area of New Yorkers coming in. So the price points in those million and above is okay. I mean, they're doing fine.
I see them
Anything,
going up on the market, off the market in a
yeah,
matter of less than a week
yeah,
in
it's
bucks.
in bucks, and because it's close to New York, and if you're going to spend an hour and a half in the car, they want to get out of the city. they need the space. So we have that going on, and it's also in the main line too. And then Chestnut Hill is on fire, and that's considered, city. It's kind of like a suburb, but it's still the city. And then you have Center City that's really it's struggling, at a certain price point over a million. Um, there's a lot of inventory. There's not a whole lot of inventory between that 4 and 700. So that's where, when everybody says the market's on fire, that's the market. And being in the city, that's where it's at. And so it's a lot of counseling the agents and how they can, educate their sellers. Buyers are just not motivated to move so quickly in the city. The buyers out in the suburbs, they're getting frustrated because they're missing out because of the competition and the lack of inventory. So it's just a complete opposite of what's going on.
And we have a lack of inventory across pretty much all sectors outside of probably the higher end in Center City. And somebody last night, they asked me why. I said, well, people are so afraid to sell their homes.
Yeah. And I think when you're living vertical in a pandemic, what we're finding, people are afraid to get in the elevators with other people. It's the timing. I had a conversation we had NAR president on my coffee talk maybe a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about a study that they were doing in New York City. If everybody were to go back to work, what would that look like following the current regulations as far as, what they recommend for COVID protocols. And they said it would take a person 2.5 hours to get into an office building just to get to their office based on, 6 feet apart and how many people in the elevator. So you add on another hour of commute, you're talking 7 hours of your day just getting to and from your desk.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because you don't think about that. You don't think about how do you get up to the 57th floor?
Yeah.
When you have thousands of people trying to get to all the floors in between.
Yeah. And I think that's what they were talking about, like a 50-story building. It would take someone 2.5 hours because how many people can you fit in an elevator? And if you have thousands of people working in that building, it's going to take you forever.
Wow.
So.
I love your coffee talks, by the way.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I've seen a lot of them. I haven't seen them in the last couple of weeks as I've been super crazy on Monday mornings, but it's so awesome. I think it's a great thing that you're doing and educating the real estate community about what's going on, bringing it to their doorsteps, literally to their bedroom.
Right.
Because most people are still working from home. We
Yeah.
have to be in our office. We have a small group here, so we're all in our little pod together.
It's interesting because when you become president, you have your initiatives, and one of them was member engagement for me. Like, how can we connect with our members? There's so much out there, and we have such great talent within our members that we would love to bring on board and get them involved in committees. How do you articulate that to the member without dragging them to a membership meeting or a committee meeting? So, when the pandemic hit, I'm like, all right, this is a great opportunity. What's this Zoom thing? Let's try the Zoom. So we tried the Zoom, and it was really just the first coffee talk was just keeping everybody up to date on, because the situation was so fluid and it was changing, and it was, we got shut down, and it was like my phone was ringing off the hook, and we had to find the critical path, and that was, all right, we have people who are closing tomorrow and we're not allowed out of our houses. What do we do? So it was just we broke it down. Title companies, what were they allowed to? Call the title company, call the association, call L&I, get the commissioner on. What do we need to do to get these certs done, to get everybody to the table? moving companies. Like, you don't even think, we had people whose moving companies were canceling on them because they couldn't do anything. So we were looking for a moving company. How can we get them to move people? And wait, agents can't do a walkthrough. So it was just insane. So,
It was
you
insane.
know,
And
so
I think
we
a lot of
just,
it could have been avoided.
I think so. It was just, there was no direction and there was no thought. And it wasn't just about us, it was about our clients. Like,
That's the
these
biggest
are
part.
yeah, it wasn't that we wanted to go back to work because we were special, and we had clients who were going to be homeless.
And people,
And
and people have a right to have a home and a place to sleep,
sure,
whether it's an apartment or a home. I mean,
yeah,
moving is the most horrible experience to begin with, unless you have like a house manager and somebody packing all your stuff and you're just showing up at the next house. It's not a
right.
fun process, right?
No,
I mean, I've been moved in 9 years and I want to move and I'm dreading like the whole process of it
hmm,
because you have to deal with all your stuff.
yeah. I mean, I had to move my daughter from Manayunk to Hoboken. And here I am, president of GPART. I'm like, Taylor, I can't do this for you. Like, I can't go out of my house and move you. So we found a mover that had the permits and everything. And I'm like, you're going up to New Jersey. This was like in March and April in the very beginning. I said, you're not going up there. You can stay home for a while. And then
Moving there for
once it,
work.
she went for work. Yeah. So,
Did she get there?
yeah, she did get there. So, and she's thrilled. It's a shame she can't experience the city the way she wanted to, but yeah, she's happy. So we moved her up. So yeah, it was kind of like I got firsthand what it was like, just to be stuck because I was personally experiencing it. I'm like, this is insane. He has to do something, meaning the governor. So, I mean, eventually it worked out and it was a struggle and it was a long haul and there were many conversations and I think that was tough because it was really like across the state. And we were lucky that Bill Festa, who's the PAR president, is a Philly guy. So he was saying, the city's one thing, but the state, it's like 50-50. Half the people wanted to go back to work. The other half was like, no, stay home. So you had to find a balance to reassure people that it was safe and also let those who wanted to go back to work know we were working really hard to get us back to work. So
Thank God we did after 60 days. 60 days.
it was just, if it was 60 days or 30 days, it was way too long.
One day was way too long. It was rough,
Yeah,
but I
it was.
appreciate all the work that you and the staff at GPAR and Bill and everybody else did to work to get this, not only just to get us reopening, but everything in between that happened. Because we're trying to maneuver through, okay, we have a closing. How are we going to the closing? We're not going to the closing.
Right.
How is the client going to the closing? Is the lender going to go to the closing? I mean, they had a big deal, several $1 million commercial deal. Just what are they doing? Because you know how that works. They don't close.
Yeah.
If that doesn't close on March 31st, the chances of that closing would have
Ever?
been. How does it happen? So it was a lot of not sleeping. I don't know about you, but I went to bed late, was up early, and I was happy if I got 5 hours at that time.
Yeah. And it was every morning, Matt, who is the CEO over at GPAR, we were every morning. It was, all right, what do we have to tackle now? Okay, let's do this. Oh, roadblock, try this. Roadblock, try this. Oh, we made success. All right, it's a good day. See you later. And then the next morning, it was just, we were cracking up because we said we're going to need couples therapy after this. We just talk all the time.
Well, talk about resiliency of people and of our community, the real estate folks, and how people together help others and make sure that we were able to get the clients, closed so they can move on with their lives or move into their new life or whatever it is for them. And that everybody did a really good job, and we're safe. I mean, I don't think that, a real estate person and two home sellers or buyers are probably not the most dangerous people to be out there during the virus,
Yeah.
but I think everyone's come together and we're practicing still the mask and the sanitizer and everything to keep everybody safe, making sure that the COVID forms are signed and with the occupied properties, and keeping, the consumers, giving them a sense of peace of mind. And that's
Keeping
really,
the agents informed, I think that was our biggest thing. We just wanted everybody to have all the information that they needed. Not everybody needed all the same information, but it was all out there. So we tried to hit all points.
So it seems to me that the engagement in GPAR has been up significantly from last year to this year, or for the past several years to this year. Is that an accurate statement, or?
Yeah, definitely. We've had
the coffee talk.
Yeah, the coffee talks and some of and when we have Kevin Gillen on, everybody loves Kevin Gillen when he gives his economic outlook. Dr. Lawrence Yoon, he's great. And then Alan, Councilman Dom. I mean, everybody loves to hear what's going on in the city. So
I love how he proposed to council to keep the outdoor seating until the end of 2021.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. I mean, I know it's like, it's something. I think the outdoor seating is fantastic. If you've ever been to Europe, to Paris, or in Italy and the cities, you see that you're pretty much year round, unless it's snowing, like really snowing. I mean, they have the outdoor seating, and I think we can do the same thing.
I think so too. Yeah, and so many restaurants, if you walk around and you see them outside and you're like, wow, I never realized that restaurant was in that building. Or, now that they're outside, you kind of get a feel for what it's like inside that you might not have never known. So I think that's really cool.
Have been able to expand their seating, which is nice for them. So hopefully they can make it, because at 50% capacity, I mean, Stephanie, I didn't realize until just recently, actually, how slim the margins are with the restaurants. Mm-hmm. I mean, I knew they were slim, but I didn't realize how slim they were. And at 50% capacity, there's no way that they can survive unless they're doing a huge takeout business or expanding outdoors, having the outdoor seating be expanded so much that it actually makes them whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's important. I would love to see some of the streets just completely closed to traffic and have the restaurants.
That's what I said. I said to Rob from Bruce the other day. Rob Wasserman said, we should just close Rittenhouse Square.
Yeah, and just walk around and have all the restaurants open.
All the, and really, the square, all the piazzas and things are all closed. You can't drive a car through them.
No.
Think about that. Like, if you think about it like that, it's like, oh, well, maybe we could close Washington Square and Rittenhouse Square. And
they do it in other cities.
Cities,
yeah. And like you said, in Europe and the piazzas and
if you think about that, you think about all that open air space that people can congregate, and especially with now, safely, and without having traffic or having to dodge somebody, crossing 19th at Rittenhouse when you're at that corner and you don't know if you're playing chicken with them, who's going. You know the corner I'm talking about.
Yeah. Are they going to run the red light or not?
Are they going to kill me? Anyway, fun stuff. So in regards to GPAR, you said you would engage people in committees. Is that happening, or are you working on that now? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's open now. If any members want to join a committee, you can sign up. If you go on the website, it'll give you all the instructions and basically ask a few questions, pick out a committee that you feel you have a strong desire to work on. We have diversity, we have YPN, we have Horizons, we have government affairs, we have RPAC. RPAC is the Realtor Political Action Committee, and they were really active this year with getting, getting us all back to work. So that's your RPAC dollars. So that's a fun committee to get on. It's interesting because you get to see the inner workings of legislation and how a bill's made and how it begins and how it ends and the votes and why someone voted this way. So it's really cool. Yeah, and the Horizon is like a forward-thinking committee that just kind of looks to the horizon, any
like
threats. Pardon me?
that name.
Yeah, it came from the state level, and I really wanted to get one, and this is a few years ago. So we started the Horizon Committee. I said we need it. It's kind of like the think tank for the strategic plan. Anything that's coming on the horizon that could be a threat or an asset to the association, they think about it there and present it to the board and say, "Hey guys, take a look at this." Coffee talk.
That's great. I love that.
So,
And I bet that RPAC is fun. I'm going to
yeah,
pick one.
there you go. Good job. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to pick one. It's time. 16 years.
Yeah, and we find that people, when they start getting involved in that, they're at a point in their career where they're comfortable, meaning they have a system with their work, because it is a commitment, to volunteer and be part of one of these committees. So you have to be prepared for that, and if you have everything in line and you're ready to go for it, it's probably the most rewarding part of my career, being involved in the association.
Oh, that's great. And you're president through the end of this year?
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. Past president. So I can take a breather, I think. Who knows?
Who's next on the horizon?
Jake
Oh,
Markowitz. Yeah.
from,
So he's president-elect.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
There probably
Linda
won't be any big party at Park this year, though. Oh, no,
I
last year
know.
it was at Tendenza, right?
That was Chris Summers.
Oh, that was
So
Chris.
Chris had his inauguration at Tendenza. I had mine at R2L, which is no longer there. So I know. So it was the last hurrah before we all got shut down, literally.
It certainly was.
Yeah.
Certainly was. I hope that that's not the case for January, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not too hopeful about that at this point in time where we are. So what do you think about the future of real estate?
I was asked that question last week before I went out of town. I was like, dodged a bullet on that one. But what do I see the future of real estate? I think, setting the pandemic aside, I think it's a great time to be in real estate. I think you can really grow your business with all the tools and the options that you have, with technology. We were talking about that earlier. And I think the pandemic, it shines a light on a lot of things. And this is probably an area where real estate needed to grow. And now it is. It's on the forefront now with all this, the Zoom and Microsoft Teams. We can communicate, we can really streamline a lot of work. I was listening to one of your podcasts, and I just caught a part of it where, back in the day we had the agreement of sales and we were running to an investor, drop it off, and they were carbon paper.
Mike, I wonder if it was Mike McCann we were talking about that. I forget who it was. That's true. Do you see, I find it's interesting because I actually can do way more right now.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't really go anywhere. I went to a lunch yesterday. I go to lunch now. I go to lunch like once a week since after the summer. The summer, I don't know about if you felt like this, Stephanie, but so for me, I'm one of those people that, okay, the summer, it's like fun time, although you're still working hard, but you're at the beach or you're going out. We didn't go out all that much because of everything going on, but we did go out to dinner at the beach, and we went to friends' houses and things like that and hung outside with drinks and all that. But anyway, come September, Labor Day, my brain is still like back to school, like back to work. Okay. So for me, that meant, oh, what events am I going to? Where am I networking?
Exactly.
How many lunches am I having? Usually I'd be stacked. The deck would be stacked with lunch appointments after work, whether it was like with the BIA or a Union Link thing or some other real estate, whatever, or just meeting people out. And now I have people say, well, what are you doing next Thursday? I'm like, I'm open. I'm nothing.
Yeah.
Meaning like at night. So
Yeah.
what I found is that I was a little bit freaking out because I didn't know, because think about it. You have like the CCPA, right? They have lunch with the leaders. They have their networking event with the Builders Association or developers and all these different things that fill in from September, October, November up until right the holidays.
Mhm.
So I said, oh my gosh, I started to like a little bit hyperventilate. I can't fill my schedule with stuff that I probably don't need to be doing anyway.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I'm getting back to full circle. I have more time now because I'm not running all over the city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting in my office. I go to appointments as needed with sellers, after I've already met with them on Zoom. A lot of people, I still want to make sure, people feel safe. Everybody's being protected. And so there's more time because you're not traveling to, I don't even know that you might go to lunch 15 minutes, but it all adds up.
Yeah.
Right. So there's more time to actually sit in the office, get work done, get marketing done, talk to more people on the phone, have more Zoom appointments. And I don't know if you had that experience or what your thoughts were about like getting back to school.
Yeah, I mean, we literally were trying to get back to school. We didn't know what back to school was. My son, I have a younger one. He's a senior this year, so he's he also plays soccer. So he wasn't sure if he was going to have a soccer season or are they going to be in school? Are they going to be online? This is a senior year. Do they get to play sports? They get to play sports, but the governor had a no spectator rule. So nobody could go to the games. And then they lifted it and let the parents go to the games, but it was only the home games. And then it was, so I love back to school because it's like soccer season. Sports is such a big part of our family. And for it not to be like on schedule, like I'm a schedule person, like I time block. I'm not like, if something comes up, it throws me off. It's just, I like to know my day. I'd like to know my week. I know, the games. I know where I need to be. And it's just very, like you said, my calendar is not stacked. And it's a very uncomfortable feeling for me. I do have a lot of time to do stuff, but there is a void with that networking. I'm a PAR director. We go out to Harrisburg for our business meetings, and those were all virtual online. And I mean, that's fine, but there needs to be, I miss that person, that talking, collaborating in person. So for me, yeah, I was not hyperventilating, but it was just like a very uncomfortable feeling not having my calendar and my hours, like pick them up here, do this, make an appointment here, go here, be here. It was just like, I'm home. I have a couple appointments, a few showings, but not anything like in the past. So I get that. I get what you're saying.
It gives us a time though to be still.
Yeah. I always do that. Yeah. Every morning I do, as crazy as my schedule is, I just have that hour to myself. The gratitudes, affirmations, reading something positive, and go run, exercise, do something for 30 minutes, and then my day starts.
That's great.
So But now I have all day to be quiet and all day to exercise and all day to read, in between appointments or wherever I need to be. So,
I'm spending most of the days in the office, so I have a far commute, 4 blocks.
yeah,
But I
that's
do have,
nice.
yeah, it's good and bad because when you want to move somewhere and you're like, well, but my office that I pay rent for is 4 blocks away.
Yeah,
It's kind of tough. So we're still trying to figure that out. I feel like we've been
yeah,
going back and forth, but the pandemic has definitely brought it to I just want a bigger house.
yeah,
We live vertically. We don't live in a condo, but we live in 4 stories, well, now not new construction, 9 years old. So I'm like, let's just buy another new construction.
yeah,
Or let's move to Chestnut Hill. That's like a harder pill to swallow. I love
yeah.
it there though.
Oh, I love Chestnut Hill.
Because I
It's
don't think of
beautiful.
it, even though it is in the city of Philadelphia, it's not in the city,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I think I consider it more like the suburbs without the
Yeah.
taxes of the suburbs. And since we don't have any children in school, any children actually,
Yeah.
uh, no need to pay the 30,000 that we would pay in taxes. So it's kind of it's a tough decision to make. Do we want to commute
Yeah.
or do we want to just stay? And it's tough. The city living down here through this has been more challenging, and I say that because we were at the beach and it felt lighter.
Hmm.
It felt more, I don't want to say normal, but normal.
Yeah.
And in the city, it definitely was different. I do see it. I feel like every week though, it, I'm seeing more people. Um, there's more restaurants that are expanding and opening out. They're the fabric of our city, and if there's not much other things open, you know, I feel like it's a little more vibrant every week, but that's going to be weather dependent.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It, I'm happy to see the restaurants open. It saddens me to see a lot of businesses closing for good. That's it's unfortunate and it's sad, and I often wonder if it was even necessary. Like, was there something that could have been done to prevent them? Like, what happened there? With all these programs that we hear about, how come? What made that one different than the other one that's surviving? You know, so
Yes, it's very tough
yeah,
because there is no rhyme or reason to it, and it was just very arbitrary of how things were done. So how do we pick up the pieces and go from here and help to make these businesses profitable and at
right.
least sustain to get through it? And I don't really know what the answer is, but to support them financially,
Right.
if you're not comfortable going there, buy takeout, buy gift cards, um, tell your friends about them. Word of
Yeah.
mouth goes a long way.
Yeah, word of mouth. And like you said, the weather's going to be changing. It's going to be a little colder, so they're going to need our support more than ever. The small businesses,
We
Christmas
were
is
talking.
coming, holidays are coming. So,
We were talking about this morning. We're hoping that we get a mild winter.
yeah,
We had one last year was pretty mild, so maybe we've had some mild winters in the last 5 years. Maybe we'll get lucky again this year, and that would be helpful. But it's a whole
yeah,
nother that's a whole nother thing. So what do
yeah, we
you
were doing good last winter when it was mild. Our business was like crazy. It was, we had spring all through winter.
I think we're lucky in the real estate industry. I think we're super, super lucky, and I feel blessed and grateful every day that I'm in this industry because I get to do as much or as little as I want and help as many families as I want to help.
Mhm.
And there'll always be people that need our assistance. whether they're moving to Philadelphia, moving out of Philadelphia. You know, right now you see a little bit more people moving to different areas, California, Denver, and people moving to Reading, all over. And people moving in. I have a couple clients moving in from New York City.
Mm-hmm.
So just being able to be in an industry where, you know, I do believe that we are essential.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we have such an amazing opportunity to be on the forefront and actually see what's happening, not only in our industry, but in the way that people will live and the way that they will change the way that they live and how they live and where they live. And being able to educate, you know, the consumer about that as it's all happening so they could stay the forefront of it. And that's a difficult thing to do because we're in the midst of it, right? So you got to look at where are things going, where are the trends, where are things like going this way, or are they going this way, or are they sideways, and that's a big responsibility.
It is. And we're also problem solvers. We want to solve the problem. So
that's the only reason why we're here, which is how we got the solution.
Be the solution. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, people said, why did you have why is it be the solution? I said, well, a lot of times I'm hired as like a second or third broker. And people will say, your house didn't sell. You got to call Maria. She did this, whatever. So I'm always solving problems. I say I get sometimes difficult cases.
Mm-hmm.
If you were on the market already twice and didn't sell, okay, so I would say, you know, we solve a lot of problems. We're bringing these solutions. And then it was like light bulb went off.
There you go.
Right? So that's what we do as real estate people, is to be the solution and figure out how we can provide our clients, their consumers, the solution that they need to move them and their families forward in whatever capacity that means. So
I mean, look what you're doing. You know, like they shut us down, but we found a way. We're always going to find a way to do our job. And we're why people. Well, why can't we do this? Why this? Why that? Okay, let's try this. Let's try that. So we are always trying to solve the problem or find another way. And I think we did that, you know, with the Zoom and the virtual tours and, you know, the walkthroughs and, you know, virtual open houses. I mean, who would have thought last year that if you said to me, we're going to do open houses and we're going to do it video walkthrough, I'd be like, absolutely not. Hey, Steph, you're going to go on Zoom and you're going to do coffee talks with senators, the mayor, this. I'm like, absolutely not. If you told me that last year. And it's, you know, when I don't want to say when your back's up against the wall, but when you have no other choice but to find an alternative, it just presents itself and you just got to go for it.
You rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you did. Amazing. Because I'm sure that you weren't sitting there going, this is what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to be interviewing all these people. I'm super excited about it. Being on Zoom.
Yeah, no. Wait, I have to turn my camera on. They have to see my face.
Oh no. Yeah. I have to be dressed.
Right. I have to put makeup on, do my hair. Yeah. So yeah, you told me that last year.
Who was one of the most interesting people that you had on that you were surprised about? Like not surprised they were coming on, but surprised about what transpired, maybe.
Well, I think most recently, because it wasn't, I mean, it's all about the election. And Dr. Terry Madonna, who was just on last week, that was really interesting because it's something that I've always been curious about, like the pollsters and what they do and how the polls work and where do you come up with it. So he really got into that and kind of read the tea leaves. So I thought that was really, really interesting. So it was something completely different. But,
yeah, that's definitely completely different. That thing that's coming up.
Yeah, that thing.
You can't get away from it. Signs everywhere. Vote, vote, vote.
Like, yeah.
I woke up one morning a couple weeks ago and there was, I don't know if you saw it, but the city was completely plastered with vote signs on
Oh,
every single pole.
oh, yeah.
Every single pole. Like there were hundreds, if not thousands of them, maybe
Oh,
thousands.
right.
And then it rained. And then they were all over the street.
Oh
I
no.
said, where did
Oh,
those,
no.
I said, my husband, where did all those signs go? He's like, it poured. They're all over. He's like, I picked them all up they were all on the ground.
Oh no.
It,
Oh,
yeah, can't get away with it. I try not to watch the news. I don't know about you, Stephanie, but I can't handle it.
I can't. I can't. Sometimes it's just, I've been voting since I was 18, so it's not like this big milestone for me to go and vote. I vote all the time.
Yes.
So I don't, um, yeah, I understand every election is important, so, and you should vote, but, I do it just because not only is it my right, it's my obligation, but I'm also a woman, and there was a time when we could not vote. So, in honor of those women who could not vote, I get up and I go do it.
Yeah.
So,
I just don't want to continue to hear the negative talk about
I
each
agree.
candidate. That's what I'm not happy about. Because
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I can't, you can't even turn the TV on.
Yeah.
I had it on and I had to put on, then I had to shut it off and I put something else on, like something I had on the DVR or whatever. So I
Yeah.
didn't have to hear the commercials because it's too much. It's too negative. And I choose not to want it in my life. So
I agree.
I've even been saying off of social media, I usually post more stuff, but if I post and then I'm on there and I've been a little bit not withdrawing, just taking a step back for a second with it, just because it's too much.
Yeah, I agree. It's not, it's too much. It's negative, and I'm starting to get, I don't know if it's resentful, but just like I feel like the commercials and the way that they're presented, it's insulting my intelligence. Like I don't need to hear, I don't need it to be about personalities. Just talk about your issues. Talk about where you stand with the issues. And I think that's what everybody wants. They just want to hear leadership just talk. Talk about the issues that, we're dealing with. Philadelphia, we have crime issues, we have homelessness. I mean, people are concerned about that and it needs to be addressed. And that's what people want to hear. What are you going to do to help the situation? I don't want to hear who did what or this did. They're like children almost. Just talk about what you're going to do to resolve the issues.
Yes, they're supposed to be being the solution.
Right. Right.
They are, and it's a bit much. So in regards to our real estate community, what do
Mhm.
you think agents can do right now to set themselves up for 2021? I mean, I know it's like October 21st, but what we're doing right now will affect next year.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people's mindsets are still very much in this year, or they're just like, I don't know what's going on because we're still in a pandemic, right?
Right.
And how do they like get themselves thinking about, okay, what can I do for next year? Or how can I line myself up? Because, agents are independent operators, independent
Mhm.
contractors. They own their own little business. And it's been challenging for all business owners.
Yeah, across the board, any entrepreneur is, but that's also to their advantage, right? So I think continue doing what you do to work on your business. The end of the year is a really good time. This is the time where you start working on your business plan for 2021. So you can take a look at 2020 and okay, your numbers might not be the same as they were last year, or they might be better. It depends on what market you're in. But across the board, I think business planning, setting goals, continue to do that. And it's okay to have an off year, and this is going to be an off year, and I wouldn't beat yourself up about it. It wasn't anything that we did. It wasn't anything that was economy. It was something beyond anyone's control. So I wouldn't worry about the numbers, but just continue to work on your business and your goals. So if you didn't meet if you set goals that were, sales goals, set it for next year. This year's a wash. It could be a wash, and that's okay. I would plan ahead. I would also look at what tools were working for you this year and as opposed to last year. For example, technology, like, are you using a CRM? Are you using an email marketing platform? What technology is working for you and what is not working for you? And take a look at those numbers. But all in all, it's doing the little things over a long period of time is where you're going to see the result. You might not see it now, but if you just keep continuing, over a period of time, it's going to make all the difference, even in a bad year. So that's my advice.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. Is like tiny hinges swing big doors.
Yeah.
Differences
Compounded interest.
in the little things. If you look at a door hinge, how tiny they are, but how big that door is, and just changing the little things and being consistent.
Inconsistency. Yes.
We don't need, there's no shiny new object.
No.
There's no silver bullet.
Nope.
Being consistent. Micro commitments, you say. What are your micro commitments for today? Whatever that is.
Yeah. Everybody, they ask what's the secret to success in real estate, and it's just small things over a long period of time. Either it's going to work or it's not, and you just keep plugging away.
The more people that you can reach and talk with and help and do a good job for, and then the more people that they tell, and the more people that you can reach, just generally with your message. And it's not always about, oh, I have another listing. How do you educate consumers about the marketplace?
Yeah.
What can you tell them about what's going on today? How do they protect their investment?
And it's relationships and trust with your clients too. They're trusting you to be their advisor. This isn't something that they do every day. And sometimes we do this every day, and we think everybody understands what we do, and we need to slow down sometimes and take the time to talk to our clients and say, hey, here's how this process is going to go. It's not the same for everyone, but this is generally how it goes. If you have any questions, let me know. So keeping that communication, that trust, building that relationship with your client, I think is key.
100%. Managing expectations and future pacing. What will happen, what could happen, what hopefully won't happen, and what definitely will happen.
Right. Because nobody likes surprises, right? I mean, they do happen, they come up, but you try to minimize the risk of that happening.
Stephanie, the only surprises I like come in small boxes, and they're very sparkly.
And they're blue.
Big diamonds.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't want any surprises for nothing.
Yeah. I hear you.
But we talked about that the other day in the office. I said, look, we know this business inside out and backwards, Stephanie, right? You know it so well that you forget, like, oh, they might want to know about this. Exactly. Even though we got it, some people need to be communicated with. They want to know everything, right? Or their driver, they want to know nothing. Tell me when it's done. Or they're like very analytical, and they want to see everything on paper, so they want everything documented. So you have to know how to talk to each client this way, because if you don't speak their language, it's really hard to get through to that person. So I think that's really important too, that we continue to look at that and remember they haven't bought a house in 10 years. I need to tell them that there's a condo doc review period.
Yeah.
Right. near the cell or whatever it is, is they don't think about that. Oh, remember that? I vaguely remember from 10 years ago. I mean, a lot has happened in 10 years. So
Yeah.
continue.
Some of them don't know a seller's disclosure and they're like, what is this? I have to fill this
Yeah, they're
out.
like, can you fill it out? I'm like, no, I
No.
definitely cannot fill it out. And I can't help you with it either. I can explain what the things are if you have
Right.
questions, but
Right.
and please disclose.
Yes.
That's what I always say that this is where you want to tell about, all the
Yeah.
things that are possibly that are wrong that about 100%.
Right. When in doubt, disclose. So,
But I say all the time, I don't want that call later.
no. Mm-mm.
That's just a headache for me and you and everybody else involved. So
Yeah.
you want to be as honest and upfront as humanly possible.
Sure.
That's crazy. So what is the future for you, Stephanie? What is your goals and things for the next year? What are you working on?
I'm working on getting my son through his senior year and off to college. It's the last one. So I'll be an empty nester. So it's very emotional year for me. So he's number 4. He's looking at Penn State and he's also looking at Westchester. I think a lot of his friends are going to Westchester, so that's why he's veering towards there. But I don't think he wants to be too far from home. So it's tough. You can't go to the college visits this year, and so they're all virtual. But he's been to a couple of them before, so he has an idea. But yeah, it's getting him through. His senior night for soccer was last Thursday, so I got a good cry out of that one and saw him off. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. So it's that, and we might be looking to move too. So we're looking to size down, I think. So you're looking to get more. Now? We're up in Bucks County now. So yeah, he's the last one. So between John and I, we have 7 kids, and now we have our 3rd grandchild. So he's the last one out of the house. So
that's a full house.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun at the holidays. They're all spread out. They're older. So like I said, Nick's the youngest, and he's moving on.
That's
so
exciting.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah.
Exciting time, and then a new chapter for you.
And a new chapter. So I don't know what we're gonna do. Well, we're empty nesters now. So
where do you think you want to?
Pardon me?
Where do you think you would like to live?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back into the city. I don't know if I want to. We did buy a place down at the beach, so we enjoy it down there. So we might spend some time down there.
What town?
We're in Ocean City, Maryland. We went down to Maryland. Oh. Yeah. So the further south I can go, the happier I am. Because I think eventually we do want to retire someplace warm.
Florida or down that way.
Yeah, or the Carolinas. Those are really nice. Yeah. It's funny, like the pandemic, the people are flocking to, the second home resort cities. And so some areas are popping up that we never heard of, in the Carolinas and, Georgia, Florida, some areas down there that look pretty interesting. So, but that's a while off, I'm not ready to retire yet.
Not yet.
But it's fun to dream.
Well, that's good. You need to figure out what you like. Take some time. That doesn't happen overnight, and gives you time to hopefully drive down and check those places out.
Yeah. And then I go the other opposite end and I'll say, what about Montana? Like, you see these ranches, these beautiful ranches out in Montana or Wyoming, and he's like, you're crazy.
Check out South Dakota and the mayor.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have to look into that. So I like to read.
If you send me your cell, I'll forward you the link.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can take a look. But she was great. She was really great listening to last night. I'm extremely impressed.
Yeah.
By her. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into that.
Yeah. And, well, Stephanie, I'm thankful and grateful that you given us your time this morning. It was wonderful to speak with you and get to know you a little bit better. And thank you for all the work that you've done this year on GPAR and for being the solution and bringing like all those wonderful guests to educate our community about everything that's going on and the integral part that you played in helping everybody walk through those 60 days and continuous with everything that's happened with the pandemic. So really appreciate everything that you've done.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for those kind words and for having me on your show. I think these are great. I think your Be the Solution podcasts are wonderful. And again, the silver lining in the pandemic, right? This brand new platform for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. So thank you very much.
You're welcome, Stephanie. Thank you. I'll see you real soon.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.